These headlights, they suck. But don't worry, I think I've got a solution on how to make them better. All right, I'm just kidding. Your Porsche headlights don't suck, but I do think that they could be improved if you have the headlights that I have. I have the HID or Bi-Xenon PDLS headlights on my 718. These are the mid-grade headlights because I'm too cheap to go with real LEDs from Porsche, and I didn't like those base headlights. Sorry, base owners. In this video, we're going to be exploring LED bulb upgrades for your PDLS lights on your 718 and probably on some other Porsches. But if you're just here to learn how to swap out your bulbs, jump to this time here and I'll show you how. Otherwise, stick around for some important details when shopping for an LED upgrade for your Porsche. HID bulbs used to be the top of the line bulb, and they still are pretty darn amazing. I remember my first car with HIDs, I loved it. LED technology has come a long way, and you can have brighter, wider headlights just by swapping out your bulbs in your PDLS headlights. I'm going to tell you all about the goods and the bads of this and how they perform, and of course, in good old jet fuel only fashion, I'm going to show you how to swap out your bulbs, whether you're going to upgrade to LEDs or spend a good chunk of money on an original Porsche HID bulb. Now, I didn't plan on doing an LED upgrade to the Porsche. It just happened to go this way because I was making another video comparing LED upgrades for my Cadillac. I know that had been a popular modification lately, so one company sent me some to review. I bought some others that a lot of people had used, and I learned a lot about the experience, and I wanted to share that here in case it's an upgrade you want to do to your Porsche. Now, this mod is only for the PDLS, that's the mid-grade headlights in the 718 and probably whatever's equivalent in some of the other Porsches. This does not apply to the base or, of course, not to the LED headlights. You've already got some awesome headlights. The type of bulb that your 718 takes in the PDLS is the D3S bulb, and I'm reviewing the D3S replacement in LED form from Auxito as well as iLighton. The Auxito bulbs I ended up putting in my Cadillac because I liked the color. They matched really well to the Cadillac's daytime running lights. And then after installing, I realized that the Porsche had the exact same bulb size, so why not take the other ones I already bought and throw them in the Porsche? In fact, I think these will look a little better in the Porsche, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, before you go buy an LED bulb, it's important that you pick the right ones. They have to be the right shape and size. You see, this is the stock Osram brand HID bulb. It is shaped and sized like this, and you need an LED like that. When you buy these LED bulbs, the base is actually an aluminum heatsink with a little fan inside. Some companies make those too big, and you won't even be able to install it properly in your car. And even if you did, if you have dynamic cornering headlights, the movement of those big heat sinks may tap the sides of the housing, and then you're going to have headlight errors or something. Both of these bulbs were tested in the Cadillac, and they performed better than the HID with better coverage and definitely brighter and wider light. In the Porsche, I've only tested the iLighton, and it's definitely brighter and definitely wider, maybe even a little bluer. It has one small flaw in the light pattern. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm going to run them like this for quite a while. The iLightons say that they are 18,000 lumens for the pair, and the Auxito says they're 24,000 lumens for the pair. To my surprise, even though both of these LED bulbs were 6,000 Kelvin, one was slightly yellower than the other. I don't know about how consistent these testings are, but at least in this video, you're going to see these two bulbs, and maybe you can pick the color shade that you like best. The stock HIDs on your Porsche are probably 4,500 to 5,000 Kelvin. They were pretty much the same as the Cadillac, which are rated as such. HIDs can last quite a while, but when they fail, they're pretty expensive to fail. You'll know they're failing because they'll start changing color or just flickering, things like that. And from Porsche, you're looking to pay $170 per bulb when you buy, say, from a parts warehouse. But if you go to the dealer's counter, you're probably going to pay $270 per bulb. These LED replacements for two bulbs We got the Li-Tons. I paid only $40 for. They're now back up to $80 on Amazon. And the Auxitos sell for about $89. Now, if you do like these by the end of the video, you can pick up the Auxitos using my link down below and use the coupon code JETFUEL for 15% off. And if you want the Li-Tons, I've got a link down to the Amazon product page for that. If you click that link, it does support the channel because it's an Amazon link. However, I say put a price watch on that because they were at 80 last time I checked, and I'm sure they're gonna come back down to 40 at some point. LEDs are supposed to have a long lifespan, right? These are supposed to be rated for like 50,000 hours. And I believe that for the LED chip installed, but what about the moving parts? Because the HIDs don't have moving parts. These have that fan inside. And honestly, if you ever had a computer, you know that those little fans are gonna fail eventually. And one little disappointment I found about the Li-Tons is their fans are a little noisy. And that makes me think maybe they're not so precision built, but the Auxitos are definitely quieter. And overall, I think the Auxitos are probably a little bit better built. They both come from China, but that doesn't always mean it's a crap product. In fact, the Auxitos are the only ones with FCC logo on the side, the Rose logo. Whether they're true or not, gives me a little peace of mind. And I really don't know what's gonna happen when this fan fails. Is the LED light just gonna burn out? Or is the LED gonna burn out and now have nowhere to dissipate the heat, so the heat sink is gonna get really hot and maybe melt your expensive headlight housings? That's definitely a worst case scenario. And I looked around and I didn't really see anything that showed that that's been happening to anybody, but it's something to keep in mind and something to think about. Maybe you do or don't wanna do this. I'm still gonna do it. I guess I like to take little risks like that. All right, enough with the tech talk. Let me show you how these lights perform, both when you're driving and how people see your car, because if you're a car enthusiast, you know it matters how your car looks even at night. Let's check it out. First, let's take a look at the car sitting in my garage about 2 feet from the garage door. We'll get it started with the HIDs on the left and the new LEDs on the right. This is a time lapse of about 16 seconds it takes for the HID to warm up and reach its color temperature. Now take a look at this low exposure shot so you can see the difference in color and brightness of the lights. The chart at the bottom is a Luma chart used in video editing, and it's not an absolute reading of light output, but it gives you a comparison showing that the LED is brighter than the HIDs on the left. Now bring the exposure up. This is more of what it looks like in real life. The HID on the left, LEDs on the right, and there's the high beams. You can definitely see a color difference, but the brightness isn't quite so apparent here. Let's have a walk around the car. HIDs stock on the left, and the LEDs are the brighter, whiter ones. Looking into the light itself, you can definitely see a difference. Here's a top-down view, clearly a difference, but here's the car with 2 LEDs installed, and you can compare them to those daytime running lamps just above the radiator grills. Back outside, leaving my driveway pointing downward, HID on the left, and the new LEDs on the right. Let's pull out onto the street, and you can see the difference in color and brightness between these lights. Here's the low beams and the high beams. Low beams, and let's go for a drive. Side by side, you can definitely tell a difference, and dynamic cornering lights work just fine. Here's the car coming up the road. You can see on the driver's side is still the HID and slightly wider LEDs on the passenger side. Now you remember I mentioned something about an anomaly in the light pattern. Check this out. See that dark spot right there? That is the weird anomaly. I don't know why it's there. It doesn't show up when I install these lights on the Cadillac. However, I forget that it's even there. Here, the camera can see it based on where it's positioned, but from my normal seating position, like this, you barely even notice it. It's nowhere in the area that you need lit up to see properly. All right, I hope that those images helped you understand exactly how much brighter and wider your lights can be on your Porsche, and that you're kind of missing out. But honestly, the HIDs are fine. But if this is what you want, let me show you how to install these bulbs. All right, so you've decided that you want to upgrade to LEDs or maybe just replace the stock bulb. I'm going to show you how that's done. Now this would be really easy, except Porsche decided to change the headlight design on the 718. You can no longer just go into the frunk, release one screw, and then pop the headlight out. This headlight does not come out without removing the front bumper these days. But that's okay, we're not removing the bumper today. We just need to remove the wheel so we can get rid of the front wheel liner here, and then we can access the back of the housing and swap out the bulb. Not the easiest thing in the world compared to some old cars, but it's not bad. Better than removing the bumper, right? Now you can lift the car with quick jacks like I will, but if you don't have that, you can simply use a regular jack on the rear jack point, and with the Porsche's rigid body, the front will come up as well. Should be enough to get a jack stand under the front jack point to hold it safely while you remove the wheel and the wheel liner to swap out your bulb, and then you can repeat for the other side. This job's pretty straightforward. It should take you about 15 minutes or so after you've removed the wheel. And then you just put it back together and do the other side. All right guys, let me show you how it's done.
It may vary between models, but on my GT4, there are 8 T27 Torx screws to remove. 2 on the fender liner, the one in the center of the grille exhaust outlet, these 2 on the brake duct, 1 at the very back, and then 2 at the top of the wheel arch. If you have this brake scoop, those 2 screws are shorter and don't have the sharp tip that the rest of them have. The GT4 definitely has a different nose than the other models, but on my car there were 5 T30 screws underneath to remove. I even removed a couple extras for good measure. All you gotta do is take a look and make sure you get the ones that are attached to the wheel liner. I'm not gonna lie, removing the wheel liner is a little bit of a pain, a bit of a dance, pulling and stretching the plastics, getting them out of the way, and it's a little more work to get it actually back in. But once you finally get the wheel liner out, you'll have access to replace the headlight bulb. We can access the headlight behind this black plastic panel. It's held on by 5 Phillips head screws. Remove those screws and then pull the panel straight off. It does have some alignment pins. Now you can see the headlight right there. Disconnect the connector by pulling straight down, and then you're gonna lift this little door around the headlight by squeezing and pulling upward. Now you can pull the headlight straight out. Be careful with it and try not to touch the bulb with your fingers. Let's ditch this old technology for the new technology. Take your new LED bulb and replace it in the reverse of how you pulled out the old one. Just slide it straight in, and then lower the silver cover so that it clicks into place. Replace the power connector for the bulb. It just clicks right in. And then let's test the lights before we put everything together. Yup, bright white, beautiful LEDs. Now let's put the cover back on, tuck your cables in, and align the panel on those plastic alignment pins. Be careful, I actually ended up breaking one of those alignment pins. Get your Phillips head screws back into place, but don't tighten them up yet. Keep them loose until they're all in place, and then snug them up. Lastly, if you're a clean freak like me, it's time to clean this wheel liner and the area under the wheel arch. I can't say installing the wheel arch is easy, it takes a little bit of patience. Work it up in there, and beware, there is this little clip for this hose that goes to your headlight washers. Get that aligned and get the wheel arch up in there, and then slide it properly under the nose of the car as well. Once all the holes seem to be aligned, get some of the screws started. Don't tighten up any of the screws until they are all in place. This will make it easier. Once they're all in place, tighten up all the screws and your wheel liner will be reinstalled. Don't forget, the short ones go into this brake duct scoop. All right, now we've got beautiful LED lights.
All right, that's it for installing the D-Series D3S LED bulbs from iLight-On. I'm pretty happy with them. I don't mind that dark spot in the lighting pattern, and the fan noise isn't very loud on the Porsche compared to how it was in the Cadillac. So if those are something that you want, be sure to check out my Amazon Associates link down below, and even if you don't buy those, you buy something else, clicking that link will help support the channel. and I really appreciate it. Another way to show your appreciation is to hit that like button, consider subscribing, and of course hit the bell to be notified of future videos, because if I have any issues with these LEDs in the future, I'll be sure to let you know. All right, thanks so much for watching the Jeff Violini channel. We'll see you next time.